What's up, folks? It's Eli, back in the service yard at Flint Rock Valley. This was my very first GG1. It's the black with silver stripes. He's a little beat up, but should be an awesome runner. He's got a broken front truck here. Got another one to replace it with. Got some more insulators. This is just as I've received it. Clean all this funk out of here. Make it brand new. All right. I'll get back to y'all with the progress. Some of these little insulators were rock hard and they're not salvageable, so you just have to break them out of there. These three on the front one have been replaced probably at some point, so they were still a little malleable. I was able to get those out. Maybe they'll be able to put on something else. All right, on to the next thing. Okay, here's where I'm at so far. Got the E-units taken apart, the motor taken apart. Look at that. It is just nasty. Golly. Funky. Got the commutator face plate ready to be removed. I'm sure that's going to look pretty funky in there as well. If you have a hard time remembering where your screws went, it's a good idea to just put them back in place where they belong. And then if you don't have a second unit to refer to, you can just put them back in there and take them out and clean them as needed. That way, be kind of dumb proof to know where everything went. All right, let's see what that commutator plate looks like. Okay, I've got the armature assembly removed. There's the commutator face. Could use a healthy cleaning. Got the thrust washers off and the bearings, the roller assembly, and the truck sides apart. Here's a problem that I ran into that I didn't realize I had. I might have, but just so many engines and stuff. Got a little bend and crack in this side of this wheel here. I'll have to fix that and or replace it. I might have a donor GG1 I can rip one off of. We'll see what happens. I'll get back to y'all. What's up, folks? It was pretty grimy in there. It is just nice and sparkling now. Super clean. All the wheels are clean. The gears on the side of the wheels are spick and span. The E-unit is just crisp and clean. All the fingers are in good shape. The roller looks good. Here's all the parts here. Got the thrust bearings and the bearings, the truck sides, brush springs and brushes. They're in good shape. The pickup roller, the E-unit bracket, and one of the cab mount screws on top here. This is the just the dirt from the truck and motor assembly. As you can see, it is a lot of funk. Still a little bit of stuff to clean up off the wires here, and possibly put some insulation on the wires where needed, but I'll clean that after I get it all back together. It's kind of tough with everything dangling here. And I'll get on to the rest of the motor here, clean the whistle unit out, and all these truck assemblies, and get this thing back together. All right, I'll be back. One thing I wanted to point out, I forgot to show you all the commutator face. I could use a little more polishing, but this isn't too bad with just a Scotch-Brite pad. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Okay, I'm back. I did not take any video of me cleaning the whistle relay and the coil or the lamp bracket assemblies, just because that's all pretty self-explanatory. The one thing I did want to mention that I did was I took a file, some little nail files, a rough one and then a smooth one, and filed in between the contact right here, just to clean the faces of both of those up some, help its operation. From all the moving around and age, the wire to the engine came apart, but no big deal. I'll solder it back together. I've got this just temporarily mounted back together while everything's still drying. It's all still sitting out here. All right, now I'm going to clean the trucks off now and get back to you. Okay, it's time to reassemble the armature. I've put a little bit of grease inside the casing there. Then I'm going to install the first thrust washer, and then set a little bit of grease on there and set the bearings on there one at a time so they stick to the grease. And then put the other thrust bearing on the armature shaft and then insert it. I'll be back. Okay, here's what it looks like with the thrust washer down in there, a little bit of grease rolled around the edges, and then the bearings inserted in there. Now I've got the thrust washer installed on the armature shaft with a little bit of grease behind there to hold it on, and then a little bit of grease on top of there to squish inside the bearings and hold all that in, and then we'll do this outside out here. Okay, here's the front side of the armature. I've got the first thrust washer down inside there, grease packed in there, the bearings inserted in there. Now I've taken a toothpick, used the tweezers to put the bearings on there. They're slightly magnetized so they come release pretty easily. And just take the toothpick and just wipe like this, and it'll stick the bearings down inside there. You can see it. I've left these like that. Now it's ready for the secondary thrust washer and then the snap ring. All right, success. The brush plate's back on, brushers are installed, bearings, thrust washers, and the snap ring. Put a little bit more grease on there, grease the gear down inside there, and put this baby back together. Oh man, it is awesome. Nice and smooth. It's gonna be great on the track. Oh, I can't wait. I'll have to take it apart and put the truck sides back on, but no big deal. Okay, get those truck assemblies back on. Truck sides, excuse me. Got the front truck still soaking here. I'm gonna clean it off. The rear truck had the busted one, as I showed earlier in the segment. This was the one I was going to replace it with, but it needs a little bit more work. than I want to put the time in at the moment. So I salvaged another one off of a different GG1 that had some bent axles. I've got it stripped apart, cleaned, and I'm going to bend those back straight. And this has a little tiny break in the wire right here. You can see that. I'm going to put some liquid plastic on there, cover that up so keep from having to redo the wire. That'd be just fine. Get all this put back together. It's almost ready here. All right, one down. It went pretty well. No wobbling. Nice and straight. Both axles got pretty straight. Should be just fine. Better than they were, that's for sure. Now to fix this little crack in the insulation on the wire here, I'm gonna use, if y'all have ever heard of this, Plasti Dip. It is great stuff. I've just opened this can up, have yet to use it, but waiting for something just like this. Got the little lid over here. Takes about 30 minutes for another coat. Put it on heavy and we might not have to do that. Okay, that should do it. We'll see how that works. All right. The cab is all cleaned off, drying up some. Got the front truck assemblies together. Got the insulators into the pantographs. This little patch I did with the Plasti Dip is perfect and it's drying up. I'm going to put this bottom back on here. Let this dry up a little bit more and assemble everything back together, and then oil up the rest of what I've not oiled yet, and should be running. All right, I'll be back. One more thing I forgot to mention is I have got to solder this wire back to the E unit here. All right, got it all back together here. I know that this is backwards, supposedly, but the reason I did that is because this is the side that is more presentable. The other side, you barely even see the stripes on there. Anyway, let's see. Looks like the bulbs might be burnt out. Which I'm sure that is the case. I can test that. My goodness, it is quiet and smooth. Oh, wow. I can't wait to put this on the layout. Awesome. Okay. I guess I was in such a hurry, I didn't even check to see if those bulbs were any good. One of them was good, but turns out that little wire that I soldered back to the E unit, that old crusty booger, he came off of the whistle as well. So pop that back together. Robbed another bulb off that donor GG1 I have, and we've got bulbs. Oh man, it's the first time this thing's been lit up, and I don't even know how many years. Got it from a friend of a friend. God, it's so nice and quiet and smooth. The unit's definitely cycling properly. All right, I'm gonna put it on the rails. Go for a spin. Thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all have a good one. All right, folks. Welcome to Flint Rock Valley. If you have not seen this before, this is my control panel that I just recently got put together. It's pretty amazing. Works like a champ. My new GG1, oh my God, so awesome.